Okay, good morning, boys and girls. We're going to be going into assignment 11 this week, and it's a three-part series about creating your own cartoon characters. Last week, you drew a picture of a cartoon character that inspired you, and this week we're going to get started on developing your own cartoon character. The first thing that I want you to do is answer some questions that I posted in the PowerPoint about um, brainstorming your own cartoon character. Now, one of the questions is, if you are a superhero villain, what would your superpowers be? And this is kind of an entry point into a character that is based off of you and maybe is able to do some things you wished you could always do, or maybe your superpowers are based off things you're already good at. So, for example, I showed some comics that my brother made. My brother likes hockey, so he created a superhero character that uses a hockey stick as kind of a magical sword type of thing. So the superpower is actually based off of his skills or interests. So you can do the same thing. Another question is, what life experience could you use to create a backstory for your character? So, a backstory is kind of an origin story, maybe how your character became a superhero or villain. Um, so I showed some other examples that my brother created, and he created a comic book about uh, fighting ghosts in a pizzeria, and his character who takes care of the pizzeria had to kind of call this cowboy ghost hunter, and they had to exorcise the ghosts out of a pizzeria. And that's based off his own life in growing up in a pizzeria. My grandparents owned a pizzeria, so we grew up in a pizzeria. And the cowboy ghost hunter that he called is based off my father, who likes to kind of dress up like a cowboy. So his origin story about his comic is based off of his life. And I would like you to think about the same thing. Now, once you do that, we're going to draw our cartoon character in different stages. So this week, all we're going to focus on in terms of drawing is drawing an action pose for our character. We're not going to worry about drawing a face or costume. Now, some of you are so advanced in this territory that you can kind of just draw your characters snap of a finger. And for those advanced students, I would say just draw the way you draw. But for those of us that are learning, we don't draw cartoon characters a lot of times, I do want you to follow my steps. So in the PowerPoint, I have several different pages of just different action poses. They're very simple in shape, so please just kind of pick one of these with no details, and then you're going to draw it on a piece of paper. So just to show you here, here's my piece of paper, and I am kind of picking a pose that I want for my superhero character. And all you're going to do on your paper using simple shapes is look at the picture and copy it. So right now that's actually what I'm doing. It's on my computer screen, and I'm using these simple shapes that I talked about last week. And I am drawing my character in that pose. Now, some of these are clearly look like more female characters, some clearly look like more male characters, but we all have arms and legs. So, if you like a pose for that you see and it looks like a female character, but you want to make a male character, you can just totally change the shapes a little bit to make it match. There's no kind of rules on this having to be a boy or a girl or non-binary. You get to pick how you want to do this, okay? So I'm just drawing these simple shapes. And then next week, what we're going to do is we're going to take this simple pose that you created, and we're going to draw face details and clothing details. So that will be kind of the last stage of adding the face and the details. Okay, I look forward to reading your writing about your own cartoon character, and I look forward to seeing the pose that you selected. And again, just to remind you, next week you'll be designing your own cartoon character face and your own costume that will go on top of this, okay? All right, thanks everybody. Have a good week.